Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerialist podcast, now with the Digital Network. How's it going, guys? Hope you're having an amazing day. Before we get started, lots going on with Wrap Your Head Around Silks. Always, we hit the mat every Monday and Thursday evenings for Roll It Out. Foam rollers and balls to work on our aerial muscles. It has transformed my practice. I get to know you through Zoom, and it's a really great way to maintain yourself. It is affordable, and I get to spend time with you guys. Would love to have you there. Also, I have a beginner to intermediate comprehensive course. If you're one of those people who doesn't really have the time to be in class constantly and you kind of lose parts of your vocabulary, parts of your practice, it's a great way to have a lifetime access to like a whole digital library of all that stuff. So love to have you there. Aerial rehab, the meant to be the bridge between PT and your aerial class to get you back from pregnancy, surgery, or just being injured. Today we have Loren Pennington. This woman is freaking hilarious. I hope you guys enjoy this. She's a mom of one 9-year-old boy.
Hi.
Yes, we have a bean. She's decided to get marker all over herself, so we're about to get into the bath. But Loren decided to start her own kids program in Ventura, California. And she tells me how she did it, how she stumbled through it, and how she's thriving now and so happy and in love with it. All right, guys, let's get started.
So I'm Loren Pennington. I currently reside in Ventura, California. And I've been doing aerial for, I want to say I started right before the pandemic. So December 2019, I think was my first class I took a group on. So was dragged to it and fell in love. And now I'm teaching a small program out of a small studio called Yoga Jones.
Oh my God, I didn't know you were so close to me. You're in Ventura.
And you're at Molmac and Bowman, right?
Yeah, and you guys have a pretty small, like a pretty tight-knit aerial community up there. So you probably know Carmen, right? Carmen Curtis?
Yeah, so Carmen Curtis and Greg, they own the aerial studio here. And so when I started, it was right before the pandemic, like I said, so everything shut all the way down. So I didn't really get to train in like real facilities for a year and a half. And that was like the very beginning of my aerial endeavor. And so it's been a really weird intro for me because I really had to make connections with aerialists outside of the studio for them to like come to my home and train me there. But yeah, Carmen and Greg run an amazing spot right here. So
yeah, and then do you know Autumn?
And Autumn out of Santa Barbara, I've trained up there. She actually opened up like privately a little bit, sooner than the big studio did. So I trained up there with her quite a bit. She's amazing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. We, they're close enough that they're kind of part of our community too. There's another aerialist, Chanel. Yeah. Chanel also teaches at our studio. She trained up there. I was in a show with her at some point.
Amazing. I took a couple of workshops with her, and you're lucky to take them when she's in town, So anytime she's like in town and I get word of it, I'm like, I'm going to go.
The other person who's up there sometimes is Terry Beeman, and then one more name. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Why do I need to do this in my brain? Anyways, it's an amazing community up there. And so you were learning on an outdoor rig for the first year of your practice.
I mean, it was super weird. So I fell in love with it for the first 2 months, love the studio, love the space. I'm brand new, right? So I'm not really comfortable getting to know very many people right away. And then everything shut down. So it was like, I'm emailing the studio owner, like, how do I get a hold of a rig? What do I do? How do I rig it? And they were super helpful. Mostly though, it was just through the instructors that I met that just ended up showing up, and, they had to make their money too. And I still wanted to train. And so we were able to do it safely outdoors for a while.
When did you start being a mom in comparison to your aerial practice?
So I was already a mom.
You're already a mom.
I started super late, right? I was 30 years old when I started in 2020. Um, Again, it was a Groupon. I went kicking and screaming. I'm like, I'm not doing this. First of all, I'm not flexible. I have no upper body strength. I have zero ability beyond just, And so, but I think laughing about myself in the beginning was what got me to come back. Like, I'm still pretty terrible, but I was so terrible when I first started. I mean, I didn't know right from left. And for whatever reason, once I'm in the air, I don't know my name, let alone which side
Laura,
to
I
pull.
love your complete honesty because it's so refreshing.
Oh my God. I was the worst student and I would just laugh my ass off. And then it got to a point where it became like it was a challenge. Like, I want to get good at this. Darn it. Like, I can see Eden or Autumn or whoever it was training me, and they just make it look like silk, like butter. And so it became like this challenge. And the gal that invited me to begin with was like, I'm not doing this with you anymore. Like, you're sick in your head. Like, there's something wrong with you. So I would just go by myself, and then laughing at myself sooner or later actually turned into like tears on the way home. A lot of the time I would sit in my car in the parking lot, like, am I even doing this? Like, I have bruises all over my body. I'm not good at this. Why do I keep doing this? And then I think it was just like getting past certain aerial hurdles, I call them now when I'm teaching, because I see that in my students all the time, like that just defeat of, that face of deficit. Like, there's no way I'm ever going to freaking be able to get up and over in a butterfly. Like, it's just not going to happen. But then once you do it, things come easier after that. And then you just, you become a part of this sport that and it's funny because I still am like, I'm running this tiny little aerial dance. I call it Miss Loren's aerial dance program. And it's like, I've decided to do my own freaking thing with it because I've realized like, this is totally an art form for one. So who's to say I can't be Miss Loren that teaches the little babies how to do their thing and then send them flying into a studio with someone like Greg and Curtis, or Autumn or Leanne and Bolmac. I've sent a couple kids up there for camps. But like, I don't know, it's just my funky way of doing my own thing in this way of in this art form. But I have to tell you, it was really weird because when I started teaching, I was literally doing this in my freaking backyard, okay, for like, I don't know, a year and a half. And I'm posting on Instagram because I'm a mom and I think I'm cute. And then I've got friends that are yoga teachers and whatnot. And so I'm walking my dogs one day, minding my business, and I get a phone call from this school up in Ojai. So this is why I even got into teaching in the first place, right? So I'm walking my dogs and they're like, "Hey, we're looking for like a mom who would maybe come up here and teach kids beginner aerial." And I almost hung up on the lady because I thought it was like a scam. But then just because the community is so tiny, I get then phone calls from like the yogis, and I got a phone call from Autumn, like, yeah, like I just can't make it up there. It's too far. And then I called the instructor that I worked with and I go, there's no way I could do this, like I am terrible at this. And she's like, you need to stop saying that for one. And number two, like, you struggling with aerial kind of makes you good at teaching. I think you're going to be surprised. And so I was like, well, what the heck? I'll give it a shot. So I committed to 6 weeks And I said, all right, we'll see if the kids, don't annoy me. And we'll see if I'm, even into this. And so I said, I'll do it for 6 weeks and I'll do it on a Wednesday. And I fell in love with them. And it turned into, 4 days a week. And 2 years later, we're putting on like giant, programs out there for their parents. And it became like a thing. It became like a 33 student program that I was running solamente and like wild and getting paid like nothing. Like it wasn't even really about that. But when you first start, like, man, I was getting phone calls from the people that told me to take the gig because they couldn't. They're like, well, you're really selling our sport for, you know, cheap. And I had to really roll that around in my head when I first started. Like, I don't want to. I'm not ever going to be the person that's going to whitewash this beautiful sport of ours. Like, I'm going to teach it proper. So I know what I'm providing is proper. I just don't know if offering it for such little money is appropriate. Like, so I think after a couple of years, it got so big though, and the kids were so dependent on the program. I stayed for the kids.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Loren, we need people like you because there are like a lot of people like me who will not teach kids. Like I will not go there.
It takes a really special type
It
of.
does. It takes a very I call them a saint. Like a full saint. You're a full saint, like not even a partial saint, because it's a patience that like already beginner. I'm a beginner teacher. I teach all levels, but like I teach a lot of beginners, and that is a special type of patience. And then what you do.
Don't forget that they invited me.
Okay, yeah, we're not even close to being done. Go.
Get away from me, stinky.
Aerial teachers that teach kids are a even more particular saint. At my studio, there's only like 2 teachers that could be like, what's the word? Like bribed into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's my passion. Like, it's so funny you say that because I teach adults. I teach beginner adults as well. I prefer kids. I prefer the kids. I feel like the kids, they don't complain as much as the adults do. Hear me out. Hear me out. The adults are way more afraid to try anything new. You have to really like juice them and talk to them. And watching your lectures, I crack the hell up. Like, you're so great.
Thanks.
Because, yeah, you really have to engage with them in a way that with kids, they're just so permeable. They're just so willing to try something new to begin with. Now, you just have to watch out for when they want to fucking let go. And you're like,
Yeah.
like, the ability for them to screw up a drop is like times 1,000.
Yeah, but I give it to you. And then your family, your family, you have
son. So I have one boy, and then my husband's an ER doctor. And so when I started doing this, he tripped out. He was like, I'm not feeding you from a straw, woman. So if you're going to do this, you're going to do it right. Like, you're going to get the proper equipment, and we're going to have someone who literally propels from mountainsides and helicopters to save people to come then look at it to make sure that a boat can hang from it before you do. And so it was like, I felt protected in that sense. I felt like I had somebody in my corner that was going to make sure that my rigging was proper, and that, because again, during, the pandemic, it was just hit or miss who you can find who can come and give you proper rigging. So I took a rigging course from a guy that propels from helicopters because I felt like he was going to teach me proper knots. He was going to teach me the, weight distributions and
Did you take the Hall Academy, like online
The
course?
Hall Academy course,
It
I
is so
loved
good.
it. It's so good. I recommend that to my kids. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's so good for them to learn the basics of rigging is so important. It's part of, it's the main part of our sport, I think.
Yeah, and I have my own online courses and I look at his and I'm like, of course this man can get away with just turning on the video camera, talking into it, not even editing and then just putting it on. Like that's not how other people make courses, but his info is so like specific and you can't
Right,
get it anywhere else.
right. And then and then teaching this has been interesting because so I took a couple of courses on the back end that I didn't pay for necessarily, which I don't know if I really want to put this out there, but I mean, it is what it is, right? You take the aerial course usually at the studio. So part of it is through the pandemic, all of that was shut down. And I really, really needed to get my hands on material before I was in front of kids. Like it just felt wrong, you know? So I reached out to the instructors and I'm like, if you've got any of that stuff saved from the studio, please send it to me. And it's super impressive that that some of these studios are able to write down in condensed form, like a teacher training program. However, I mean, I've seen a few and I haven't found one aside from aerial physiques, it's pretty good, that really captures what it is to do what we do. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I did a test of my teacher training course and I'm still figuring out exactly how to do it because the ideal is that you have it completely in person and
Right.
that you do it like a Pilates teacher training course. Like I took my Pilates teacher training and I did it was, I don't know, 100 hours or something
In person.
in
Yes.
person. And that is the way to do it and I just haven't figured out how to transfer that and how to make it make sense because not everybody can travel,
Right.
blah blah blah. So I'm still in the middle of figuring out the most perfect way to do this, but it is really hard to.
If you ever do a live
Yeah,
teacher training, I would so love to be a part of that.
I will let you know. I mean, I did it. I did it last year, and it was just hard for like I got a couple students, and it worked, and all the students are now teachers, so it
Yes.
worked. But to do it across the board and have everybody be able to go the same week, it's like whoa, that's kind of hard to
Navigate with
coordinate. But
schedules. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay, let me ask you
Yeah.
because I did want to talk about the balance of having a family. How old is your boy?
So he's 9.
Oh,
And he's in baseball and so yeah, it's not easy navigating, um, especially when, I was a stay-at-home mom with him for the first 6 years of his life. And then I started teaching this part-time. So just like balancing how many classes per week can I realistically teach and what days can I do those and are they going to be functional for my students and then is it going to balance with my kids schedule. It's yeah, it's tedious just like with anything.
yeah. How many hours? How many classes a week do you teach?
So I teach 4. So I teach 2 classes on Wednesday and then 2 on Friday. And then I teach a bunch of privates in between right now. So those are like really up in the air. I could do anywhere between 3 and up to like 10 privates a week. So I'm in the beginning throes of like organizing what could be a potential business. But right now, it's just a part-time what I do as a mom to get out of the house.
And your husband, he's an ER doctor, so I'm assuming that his schedule's all over the place.
Super all over the place. And that's been difficult because he's used to me being home whenever he wants to have me home at a certain time. Like if I'm not home, he's like, well, where is she? What is happening? I'm teaching. And so that's been a new thing for us for sure to navigate through. Um, but a part of Ariel that has just been such a blessing for me is just finding my own way and doing my own thing again. Like I haven't done anything outside the house for so long, and I really need to have my own, I need to give back in some way, shape, or form besides just like at my kids' school and at the baseball games. And so this has just been a blessing for me.
I'm a daughter of a doctor. My dad
Oh.
is a retired cardiologist.
Uh-huh.
And it's like a lot of jobs that are just like, it completely depends on the other person to be the primary caregiver. Like
Yeah.
my mom did everything. And
Yeah.
it was also a different generation. Like my dad, even if he didn't have that type of schedule, he probably would have just sat around at home anyway, because in his mind, his only job was to make money.
Right. That's kind of my marriage. So
well, that's challenging. And I know that, it's my friends who have husbands who are directors. I have 2 friends who have husbands that are directors. They knew when they had that baby that they would be doing
just everything. Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Because even before the baby, like, I think one of the husbands was out in Europe for an entire calendar year on a movie.
That's
like
crazy.
the only time she even saw him is when she took the baby, got in the plane, and went to him. That's
Yeah.
the only time. And so
A daughter of a doctor, that even when they are home, they're not really home, they're doing something.
yeah, like, and I don't know your husband's experience, but my dad, I only learned this later, like he would lose a person on the table that day.
I know.
And then he would come home just in a grumpy mood, but he wouldn't have the wherewithal or the emotional space to talk to us about it. Yeah. So I would just think that like I did something wrong. I'm not saying other kids would have that same thought, but he would have lost somebody that day. It's a big emotional hit, and like, my mom did everything. So that's, even if you're 100% preparing for that in your entire life, marrying this person, it's still difficult.
It is. And I wanted a ton of kids. And so part of this Ariel thing has been, that has been such a blessing for me is I didn't get that. I didn't get a slew of kids to take care of, but now I've got a slew of kids to take care of, in the air. I've got a bunch of kids to take care of like 4 days a week, and then I get to send them off to their parents.
Did you guys try to have more kids after your son?
Yeah, we definitely tried, but I don't want to IVF anything. Like I want the natural route. Like I had my boy in water with a midwife, and like I would really like to avoid anything science-wise when it comes to that. I'd rather it happen naturally. And so if it's not going to happen, it's all right. And it's mostly all right because I've got so many kids that I that are in front of me that need to see me every week. And so it's all good.
Yeah, I have a couple friends who are studio owners, and they're like, I'm never having kids because I have 150 kids.
Right.
That's how they feel.
And so it's kind of evolved from this want and need of mine to be a mom of, a bunch to I'm good.
Bean, I do not have 150 kids. I said some people feel like their students are their kids, but I didn't say that. I have 1 kid, and it's you. You're you're the sole one, okay? Are you happy over there?
It's kind of nice to have one. You can put all your energy into that one.
But
Yeah.
I'm not happy with anybody.
You're not happy with anybody?
I'm just happy with myself.
Okay, that's great though. That's great.
That's
I'm
all that
not
matters.
happy with the ladies.
Yeah. So she calls my students the ladies.
The ladies.
And sometimes when she's like completely over me teaching so much, she's like, I don't like the ladies. I hate the ladies, because she wants my attention. That's how she says it. It's the cutest.
That's so
cutest thing.
cute.
If you have any advice for any aerialists out there who are thinking about starting a kids program.
Okay. So don't. I'm just kidding.
I love it. You're hilarious.
So I was so afraid to ask for help. And because our community is so small, definitely lean on those owners of the studios. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because what I have found is that collaboration is so much better than thinking you can compete. Like, you're never gonna compete. Like, it's silly to think you can compete. First of all, there are thousands of kids who would potentially have the interest in starting this kind of thing. And so, if anything, there aren't enough aerial instructors. So first, don't be afraid to start, because we need you. Call me, by the way, if you're thinking of starting, because I could use you. But don't be afraid to start, and then ask for help from the studios that are open, that are thriving, that are doing really well for themselves. And then definitely start by teaching under a studio, because doing the way I did it and starting a program just from scratch all by yourself is kind of crazy. Like, looking back at it, it's nuts. Now, I'm super stoked that I have this following of kids that would literally follow me if I taught under a bridge. Um, but I think it's super important to have that structure and, the background of knowing, oh, this is what, and even if that's not how you're going to teach your class, it's important to know what the other guy is doing in town, so that you can either help them create a better program, or you can go, I'm going to do my own thing. So ask for help, and definitely lean into the local, because in the beginning I was afraid. I was afraid that I, first of all, was going to get laughed out of the building because I don't know what I'm doing. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I knew that. But it was a matter of, like, I also knew that there was a space that, like, there was a need, you know? And so I just did it. So I would avoid just doing it. I definitely would ask for advice.
Okay, Loren, you're hilarious, by the way.
I'm like, please don't just try to do this by yourself, because it is so scary. It's scary.
Yeah. You know the whole thing about kind of not LA, well, sometimes in LA too, but in towns that are maybe smaller, there's a lot of like competition between studios. And it could be anything, pole studios, dance studios. It's
I found like I felt, I'm going to be real with you. I felt like I was being bullied in the beginning. I felt like I was being told, you're not going to do it unless you do it our way, on our, schedule, and you come be a minion for us. And I thought to myself, well, wait, like, I know what a bully looks like, and I'm not one to be bullied. And so I didn't feel comfortable asking for advice from someone telling me what I was doing, telling me what to do. Like, I fell in love with the kids, and I could see every week what I was doing was, like, beautiful, was magical. And then I'm being told, no, you can't do that. What are you doing? Who do you think you are? And it was like, well, first of all, I know I'm no one. And second of all, like, I'm doing what I love, and I know I'm creating magic up here, and I know my intention is correct, and I know that you don't have to see it yet, but you will. And so the way I earned stripes and, like, I guess a little bit of a reputation for my little itty bitty program out here is that I would, my intentions always ring true. Those kids that graduated my program, and by graduate, I am not teaching you how to hang from your ankles 30 feet in the air when you're 12. No thanks. Go to the studio. Like, that's not, like, nope. I will teach all the way to SRAP, and then time for you to go fly over there. Like, I'm not gonna go and teach crazy, crazy stuff I know my lane. I stay in it. And a lot of the kids are like crying because they've trained with me for a year and a half. And I'm like, dude, you've graduated me. Like, go fly. There are amazing studios. And so I've sent kids to the studios after they told me that I didn't know what I was doing and that I should quit or I should come work for them. And then years later, you get those phone calls like, oh my gosh, thank you. What you're doing is magic up there. And you've sent me some amazing kids and they're pointing their fucking toes and I can't even believe it. Like, wow. And it's like, so if you're going to do it, I guess my advice for me, because I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, just do it. Just do it. Take a teacher program, take a rigging course and do it. Create a space, walk into a studio.
She just came over and bit me on my arm.
That's what I've done is I've gone into studios after you take a rigging course. Did you really just bite your mother?
She just bit me, and that's not normal. She just wanted my attention. She wanted you to see her.
So if you want to start out and you want to play nice, you knock on every studio's door and you say, I want to start teaching, and then you go under the studio. But if you want to blaze a path like I did, then take your own rigging courses and take your teacher training and just do it. And don't do it for a school that has like a really faulty rig and you want someone to come look at it other than yourself and just have common sense. And then the other thing is I'm finding studios are great. Yoga studios with large ceilings. I walk in, I look at the ceiling, I assess whether or not it's easy to rig and if I can get in and out on a Saturday. And so I've been hosting workshops at big, yoga studios and just trying to spread this sport to the masses. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I feel like there should be more than one place to go in a town.
Yeah, and then I don't know, like I get all that competition. My dance studio that I grew up with, there's 2 in my little small town. And I graduated from that studio, I don't know, 26 years ago, and they're still competing. I was like, why? Like there's enough kids. There's enough kids. And if you feel like you can't get kids, then go find more kids. Anyways, I don't get it. I get it because I lived in it, but like it's so counterproductive. People, communities, studios, they need teachers like you, regardless if you're in your space or you're in their space, because there are very few teachers that want to teach kids and that are teaching technique well. Mm-hmm. Very few in any given community. Even in LA, like when people are asking me where to send their kids, I don't have between 5 and 12 years old. I don't have a clear answer half the time.
Wow, that's pretty amazing to hear. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel
I don't have a clear answer.
I feel like this conversation is just going to lead me down a super peaceful path. And after this, I'm going to call Carmen. I'm going to call Greg. I'm going to go, look.
Yeah, you should. I think so.
Looking for someone to teach kids, call me. I'm right here,
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about curating this podcast, mm-hmm. because I know very little about pregnancy. I just have one kid. I'm not like an expert on being a mom, nothing. But I get to curate all these stories. I hear about almost every market in the world, what Ariel's like on the ground. And what I learn is there's room for everybody. And people need good beginner teachers, like everywhere. So, also the other point I was going to make, and I kind of lost it as we were talking. When I started wanting to teach, I felt some of those things too, mostly because in my LA community over the last 17, 20 years, it has changed a lot, but the circus people were hating on us dancers like crazy at the beginning.
Yeah.
They were like, you're a dancer, you're not a real circus person. And I don't even claim to be a circus person. I'm an aerial dancer, more
can't
so.
claim to be circus people.
I'm not a circus person.
People are.
I know. Different level.
Different level. You're born a circus person. You don't get to be a circus person. You're born into a family of circus people, and you train from the age of 2 to be a circus person. That's a circus person.
Yes. Well, I do think people are getting in other ways, but yeah, there's like 5 generation circus families, you know, like doing hand balancing since they were literally 1 year old. So I'm not a circus person. I have like a toe in the circus world.
Yeah.
And so those circus people were hating on us for so long. It's different now because if you put the time in, which I have, which a lot of my friends have, then it starts to turn over because their whole thing is you haven't put the time in. Okay, now I'm putting the time in. But even when I was wanting to teach, I was always a dance teacher. So I'm like, okay, I want to change the skill set. I was a Pilates teacher, change the skill set to a different apparatus. And the other thing that I learned over the years is you have to start somewhere. Everyone has to start somewhere. So you see teachers who are now I'm I'm like a decade into teaching. Mm-hmm. And I'll never look down on a teacher who's just starting to teach in their first year. How the fuck did I do it? I had to start somewhere. Sorry, Bean. Did you hear that? Sorry, Bean.
My arm.
I know, you're drawing. We're going to have to wash her arm off. Now she's using markers.
So cute.
She's like, bad word. Like, I don't do that because even when people make mistakes, I had so many teachers shame me at the beginning because they're like, you're doing that wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it wrong? Or maybe I just I don't believe in wrong or right necessarily. There are better ways to do things. So I'm here for it. I mean, you have to start somewhere. There's no other way. And no one gets to like 10 years as a teacher without starting on their first year.
Exactly. And with our community, there's no governing body that's like, this is how you do it. And so you'll find that just people that are making the money that have been doing it in that town forever are like, hi, we're the governing body. And it's like, well, wait, no, you're actually not. You're actually not. And so you go and then you'll learn like, oh, Terry Beeman has a different style. Oh, well, Matt and Bowman. Oh, this and that. And so I think, so when you're first starting, start somewhere, get in there, have a good idea. Like, I would train at more than one place. If you're going to think about being a teacher, I think you should have different styles introduced to you from different places and really get a feel for what this is, and then decide what's your style, and then just go for it.
Yeah, I also feel like,
I like me.
Yeah, you are interrupting me so much. I'm going to have to edit so much. I also even recognize in myself teaching at different studios over time. There are some studios that I can get away teaching a certain way with because there's a culture there, right? And then there's other studios that I can't get away with that at all because the culture is totally different and the focus is different. What's okay there is different. So even I kind of shift because it's like, and then you can kind of like root down and then do your thing after a while. But like, you got to go with the culture of the studio to a certain degree.
Totally. And so pick studios that make sense with what you're going to offer, like pick studios where you feel at home there. You would want to train there to teach in. So that's why I end up at these yoga studios because they're peaceful for me and I like the community and I want to teach in them. So it just makes sense.
I love it. Okay. And then your second piece of advice, my last question I have for you is if you have advice for the listeners who are juggling, having a kid at his age, your business, and then, a partner who has a really, really demanding job.
Well, divorce is always an option. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Loren, you are killing me.
You know what?
Yes, I see, Bean.
Sometimes the kid can wait in the studio. The kid can hang out in the studio with an iPad for 2 hours while you teach. It's not going to kill them. It's going to teach them that mom does something for herself outside of them. It's okay. That's the advice I would give is don't feel guilty about doing your thing. It's totally okay. It's more than okay. It's good for them to see you doing your own thing.
Loren, I've really enjoyed this time with you.
Thank you. I enjoyed this time with you too.
Fun.
You're so fun. Now you know where to send kids in Ventura County.
Oh my God. I mean, you guys, LA, it's weird because, I mean, we do have kids programs at Womack and Bowman.
Yeah.
But it's not that kinder, like they don't have that stage. Like my Bean is learning aerial from me.
Yes.
And I know there are parents out there who are like, where can my kid at that age learn that? And I'm like, not with me.
You're like, no thanks. I'll teach my own kid, but not yours.
Yeah. And I'm not teaching her to climb because I'm not ready for her to get halfway up and then not be able to figure out how to get down. So
you're right.
That's not happening yet. But yeah, I think there's a need for that. Listeners out there, I think there's a need for that pretty much everywhere. Because if I can say like the big cities, New York and LA, I'm not sure about San Fran, but New York and LA, not a lot of kids options, to be honest.
And parents want their kids to, I feel like the one thing we didn't freaking touch on, which we have to before we end this conversation quickly, is how important it is for young kids, young girls especially, to know their bodies, to be bodily aware to that extent in the air like that. I have seen it translate in so many ways in my kids outside of the studio. I am not just teaching them how to dance around like Peter Pan. I am giving them confidence outside that just permeates way out there. Like, she's now the president of her whole school, and she didn't have any friends when she first started. Wow. I made big turnarounds in these kids. She just won the science fair. Like, she didn't even want to submit it. Like, it's huge for these kids. And as a mom, I'm always looking for a place for my kid to grow. So anyway, I got all teary about that.
Oh, well, and I'm going to say the more financial aspect of it. What's interesting to me, too, is that it's not more available because, I don't know about you, but you look for summer camp, and there's just not enough. Like soccer camp, gymnastics camp, dance camp. Like, it's a huge moneymaker.
Look at my cast.
Oh, my God, you have marker everywhere, Bean. Oh, Lord, have mercy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's so expensive. It's crazy expensive to send your kid to camp.
I know.
Whatever camp it is.
I know. So I try to offer affordable because my mom was a single mom with 5 kids, and I could never complete a dance program because she couldn't afford it. And so my summer camp, it's a half day. It's only a couple hours, like 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and I charge $325. So I try to make it super affordable.
That's great. That's great. It's hard because aerial is expensive because you have all these other overhead costs. Right. So it's hard to square that circle, for all the owners out there.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh my God, I had so much fun, Loren. This is great.
And get insurance. Oh my God, if you're a new teacher, get insurance. You have to have insurance. Always have insurance.
Yeah. Well, unless you're working for a studio that just takes care of it for you.
Unless you work for a studio.
Yeah.
But I feel like you should just have your own insurance anyway.
Yeah, there's that. And then, they have it for personal trainers and Pilates teachers and stuff to have your own insurance. It adds up though. But Loren, this has been a pleasure. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. We'll see you out there. I can't wait to train with you out there. I have to come take one of your classes.
Loren, I had so much fun talking to you, and Bean is now covered in orange marker. We're about to get into the bath. She thinks it's hilarious, and I wish you all the luck in the world with your program, and, we'll have you back to talk about it again in the future. All right, my friends, my listeners, if you would honor me with a 5-star rating and review, I would appreciate it forever. It is the hardest thing about being a podcaster is to get your podcast out to the people who want to listen. So the best way to do that is to have a good star rating and just ride that algorithm. So I really appreciate if you guys would just open the Apple app and leave me a review. It makes such a difference. I appreciate you. I also have Greener Grass with Digitent Podcasts with my friend Kelly McVeigh. If you want to hear my voice twice a week, it's there for you. It's light, it's heartfelt, and we bring on some really amazing guests. All right, my friends, over and out. This is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is The Expecting Aerialist.